Currently, 197 countries around the world utilize about 180 different currencies. Some currencies are also accepted in more than one country. Since 26 member states of the European Union adopt the euro as their only currency. In a similar manner, about 14 countries today use the US dollar as their exclusive form of payment. In addition to their own currencies, all countries have foreign currency reserves. These are referred to as foreign exchange reserves. Handling international payments for commerce and other financial activities is the primary goal of maintaining foreign exchange reserves. However, did you know that US dollars represents nearly 59% of the world's foreign exchange reserve? The US dollar is often regarded as the most powerful currency in the world, and America is currently the world's superpower. The US economy is also widely regarded as the most powerful economy in the world. Friends, it's been a fascinating voyage to watch the American economy grow. Why is the majority of global trade conducted in dollars? Let's try to find out.
Throughout history, several methods have been employed for trade and financial operations. The world financial system frequently shifted to various kinds of paper currencies at the end of 19th century and the beginning of the 20th century. There was an immediate need in this situation to establish a standard framework for international business and financial operations. Because there were no established guidelines for the printing and circulation of cash, and because each country had its own currency. Therefore, each country used to print and use money in accordance with its necessities. As a result, it was extremely challenging to use the currency for international trade. In order to address this issue, the majority of the countries decided that each currency should be valued at a specific amount of gold and that the government should hold an equivalent quantity of gold in order to create any currency.
For instance, in 1873, the value of a dollar was set at 1.504 grams of gold, meaning that the US government needed 1504 grams of gold in order to print $1,000. He will only be able to print money with a value equal to that and no more. However, this arrangement was short-lived as the First World War broke out.
The countries fighting in the First World War required a large sum of money for war expenses and in order to meet its demand. Numerous countries once more began printing their own banknotes. As a result, some countries experienced extremely high inflation and very low currency values. Britain was the world's powerful country at the time, and it had colonies all over the globe. They sought to protect the value of their currency and their standing in the world by keeping it tethered to gold. But in 1931, they finally gave up the gold standard that underpinned their money as well. Due to this, the value of the pound fell precipitously, and overseas traders who were trading in pounds at the time nearly lost everything in their bank accounts. Furthermore, in order to cover the cost of the war, even a superpower like Great Britain had to borrow money. Their national deficit increased from £600 million in 1913 before the First World Conflict to £7.8 billion in 1920 after the war.
Following World War II, this gap grew to almost £21 billion, which was over 3 times their GDP at the time. The same was true for other countries including Russia, France, and Germany, which also experienced significant budget deficits.
It is crucial to remember that Bretton Woods Agreement led to the creation of 2 significant financial institutions, the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund or IMF, are the first and second respectively. Because most countries experienced economic collapse following the 2 major wars, therefore, each of these countries required loan to rebuild their economies and infrastructure. The World Bank thus provided these countries with enormous loans for their rehabilitation with US funding. The IMF also kept an eye on the global economy as a whole and gave loans to developing countries to help them with their balance of payments issues. This is the rationale behind the continued reliance on the IMF for countries like Sri Lanka and Pakistan for their economic recovery. In this manner, Bretton Woods Pact elevated America above other countries around the globe. And this was the initial phase in which the US dollar overtook all the other currencies and became the dominant reserve currency. Let's now talk about the second phase, or the second factor that was crucial in making the dollar a global reserve currency.
While Great Britain, France, Russia, America, Germany, Italy, and Japan are at war with each other, the Arab countries were longing in the desert and were unaware of these war-related tragedies. They most likely had no idea they were sitting on one of the greatest oil reservoirs in the world. The only countries with the capacity to extract oil from the ground, refine it, and trade it were the United States and Great Britain at the time. Meanwhile, an American corporation found a sizable oil reserve in Saudi Arabia in 1938 and started extracting oil from it. Due to the fact that oil had only recently begun to flow from Saudi Arabia, the country was not at the time very economically thriving. However, Italy repeatedly shelled Saudi Arabia during the conflict. At that time, Saudi Arabia aspired to maximize its oil production. Franklin Roosevelt, the President of the United States at that time, knew at this point that oil was crucial to both current and future development.
As a result, in 1945, following a protracted discussion with King Abdulaziz of Saudi Arabia, he struck a momentous agreement that altered the future of the US dollar. In accordance with this agreement, the US will assist Saudi Arabia in protecting from future attacks. He will give Saudi Arabia a variety of cutting-edge weapons for this purpose, and in exchange, Saudi Arabia would sell its surface oil for merely dollars. Due to the sale of oil in dollars, the Middle Eastern countries' rise was sparked. The Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries was founded in 1960, that is following the formation of OPEC. All oil commerce in the globe began to be conducted in US dollars. However, dear friends, the question that now emerged is, how did trading oil for dollars make the dollar the strongest currency in the world? To find out why, we talk about the third stage that ultimately led to the dollar becoming a world currency to discover.
The United States gold reserves would have fallen to only 10,000 tons in 1970 as a result of the Bretton Woods Agreement, which allowed any country to swap a predetermined quantity of gold for dollars. At this point, trading gold for dollars with the US became impossible. The US President Richard Nixon temporarily annulled the gold to dollar exchange rate, effectively destroying the Bretton Woods Pact. Therefore, each country had the freedom to determine the value of its own currency, but no currency was tethered to gold. In other words, it became crucial to understand where and what your currency may be used for. In this instance, the US dollar served as the medium of exchange for purchasing oil, the most significant commodity of the 20th century. In order to purchase oil from the Arab world, the majority of countries started maintaining their foreign exchange reserves in dollars.
Friends, it is crucial to note that while many countries have sizable foreign exchange reserves, they only utilize a portion of those funds for commerce. For instance, if a country has 100 billion in reserve and only trades 20 billion of it, it will still have 80 billion extra in reserve. These countries invest their excess foreign exchange reserve in US Treasury bonds, just as we choose to put our assets in stock, saving accounts, or bonds rather than holding them. The US government issues these treasury bonds and a number of countries invest in them in the hope of earning respectable returns in the future. Foreign countries held about 7.5 trillion US dollars in US Treasury securities as of May 2022, according to the Federal Reserve and the US Department of the Treasury.
This enormous sum exceeds the GDPs of France, India, and Russia put together. The US has the added benefit of being able to finance industrial output, defense spending, economic expansion, and even the operations of most financial organizations like the World Bank and the IMF. Additionally, the US enjoys an unfair advantage over other countries thanks to its massive economic resources. Moreover, with the most recent sanctions against Russia, a country's dollar holding in the US may be frozen if it tries to act against US policy. Friends, because of all these factors, the US dollar is recognized as a powerful worldwide currency and America is a superpower. By the way, although several countries now trade among themselves using their own national currencies, the dollar continues to play a crucial role in international trade and the global economy.
Hope you enjoyed today's video.
That's it for today.
Bye for now.